Hey guys, it's Giovanni. How do you have endless conversations? I'm going to give you some techniques and tools in this video to really never run out of things to say. If you know the truth of who you are, you'll never run out of things to say. Sometimes clients that come to me, they don't know who they really are. And we go through this process of what we call the search, right? What do I represent? What are the things I really care about? And one question I always ask myself is, what do I really hate? Because what you really hate will show you the other side of what you really love. And we do these exercises where I ask them, what do you hate? What do you love? What were 2 or 3 events in your life that you think shaped who you are? What are the top 1 or 2 decisions that you've made in your life so far that you think affected the kind of person that you became? And the answers to these questions allow you to find out who you really are and the type of person you're growing into. And when you know the answers to these, the funny thing is the answers to these questions become your conversation topics. For example, I decided to go to university when I was 16 and I left Taiwan and I left everything I knew to pursue this dream of mine. And I think because of that, I've always been a pretty independent, ambitious person, right? And that becomes your conversation topic. When I was 21, I made a decision to join this consulting firm and I learned so much from so many of these older mentors. And I wouldn't have gotten that had I not made that decision. I played basketball in high school, and because I play basketball, I understand the importance of teamwork, and my coach really taught me so many life lessons because I played basketball. So you see how the answer to these questions give me conversation topics that I can use in my dating life. Now, if you want a girl to fall in love with you, you can use what we call grounding sequences. So these grounding sequences are like reasons of who you are. So for example, I grew up with a diplomatic family, and so therefore I'm always inquisitive and wanting to meet different types of people. Later on, I could say because of my job and my history, I like meeting people that maybe don't have the same opinion as I do. That's why I wanted to talk to you, right? So it gives you an excuse, but also it gives you a reason for why you're approaching different types of people and, you know, the path that you're on in life, right? And it gives you that grounding. Like, I understand what this person's about. I can see the reason why they're talking to me. Yes, I'm attractive, but there may be something more to it. And that's how you ground your sequences and you become congruent and you become real in the girl's mind, especially if that girl has a lot of guys approaching her. You now have something deeper that's more than just, hey, you look beautiful, I wanted to talk to you. Another technique that I have is vulnerabilities. So I have stories that I tell that show that my vulnerable side, but also shows it in a way that where I'm progressing. For example, in high school, I was bullied a lot. You know, I wasn't cool, I wasn't popular, and that's why I think I resonate with people that perhaps are being treated unfairly. It evokes a very strong emotion in me to want to protect them. Another tip I have for you is embracing the talkative state. So even before I get to the venue, or I start talking to myself in the car, or sometimes I start talking randomly to myself, and I just start getting myself into a talkative state, that energy field. And what you'll see is that once you get into that talkative state, it's a lot easier to interact with people at a party, at a social event. But if you've been quiet all day and you get to the event and you're like, hey, Sarah, how's it going? Oh, hey, Giovanni. And you're trying to work up the courage and get back into that momentum, it's a lot harder to do. So I get to momentum before I get to the main event by talking to myself or talking to people, the grocery clerk, people I meet during the day, just getting into that state of being in a talkative mood. Another tip I have for you is embracing the silence. A lot of times guys feel anxious and they want to not run out of things to say. And I'm like, look, it's okay to be silent as long as you're not like squirming, like, oh no, I'm afraid. Sometimes I'm silent just because I'm not afraid to take a pause. And I'm like, okay, I don't need to say anything at this moment. And that can be attractive, right? It's the reason why you're silent. And if you're silent because you're just taking a pause for yourself and taking it all in, that's attractive. But if you're silent because you're nervous, right? That's unattractive. So your intention there behind the silence is the key. Never be afraid to walk away and never be afraid to take a moment for yourself. The last tip I have for you for endless conversations is really talking about things that you are passionate about. For example, I could talk about salsa dancing all day. I can talk about social dynamics all day. I can talk about relationships. Sometimes I talk about economics and politics and crypto, the things that are changing our world. Those are things that I'm personally passionate about and I'm happy to talk about. So sometimes I'll throw out little hooks to see if the other person's into it. What are your thoughts about the crypto market? What are your thoughts about the economy of the world? what are your thoughts about what's going on in this situation? And I see these little fish hooks and I see if they hook and I go, oh yeah, I have an opinion on that, right? People love being asked for their opinion. And when I ask for their opinion on something that I care about, I'm trying to see if there's a truthful connection and something where we're both passionate about that we can talk for a long time about. And when you throw out a lot of fish hooks, eventually something bites. And that person can become your friend for the night or perhaps your friend for life, right? You never really know. So take these techniques, try it out. Honestly, I know this video is very quick, but these are techniques that really work really well for me. I teach them to my clients in field, in my mentorship program, and I think they'll be of great use to you. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. Cheers.